The way I introduce myself is I say I sell orgasms for a living.
And what about your remaining net worth?
One of my startups, Manzuri, is officially valued at 12 CR.
That's the company which you went on Shark Tank.
Yes, correct. We did not start by selling toys. We started through an Instagram handle.
This is such a fantastic way to launch a business today.
I started my first company in first year end itself.
Why did you start that? Was there some inspiration?
No, I just wanted to make money. I spent anything between 3 to 7 lakh rupees on online courses. We got extremely lucky in the first year.
That's what I want to know. Hey guys, welcome back to the 1% Life, where we talk to people who have achieved financial independence. And on today's episode, we have the youngest person to ever be on the 1% Life. His name is Ritesh.
Thanks for having me.
So you are a business owner, right? You
Correct.
have a business.
Yes, I have a business.
So
yes.
Before we get into that, like what is your liquid net worth?
Around 1.5 CR.
And what about your remaining net worth, which is your illiquid part? What is that worth like?
8.5 to 9.5 crores.
And how are you valuing it?
My one of my startups, Manzuri, is officially valued at 12 CR.
That's the company which you went on Shark Tank.
Yes, correct.
You went on Shark Tank.
Yes, correct.
Manzuri.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of Manzuri?
So Manzuri has two meanings. The first meaning of Manzuri is consent in Hindi. And the other meaning of Manzuri, it literally translates to 10,000 splendid rubs, which means female in Japanese.
Okay. And you own 80% of it?
70%.
70%. So all put together, you're worth like 10 to 12 crores.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have 1.5 crore liquid net worth, and you have the remaining 8 crores in your businesses.
Yes.
So let's
in one business, my other business is unvalued, even though it makes more revenue and profit than Manzuri. But I've not gotten it valued, so that's why it's zero.
So currently you are CEO of 2 companies.
Correct.
If I may put it that way.
Yes.
Right? 2 companies you're running.
Yeah.
So tell me about what are these 2 businesses that you're running.
Sure. So the way I introduce myself is I say I sell orgasms for a living.
That's what I want to know.
Right.
Okay.
So we basically, when we started in 2019, 2020, there was no player in the market where women could go and find a trustworthy and reliable source to purchase from.
Okay.
So I have to call it a wellness startup and not a toy company because the Indian government actually does not acknowledge the existence of toys. Like maybe a decade behind when it comes to pleasure tech. Sure.
Tell me a little bit more about the economics of this business.
Okay.
So definitely the market is there.
Right.
That is what you saw in your data points.
Right.
So how do you make money? Like how do you make that? Like what are these devices? And then like how do you figure out all of these things?
So we did not start by selling toys. We started through an Instagram handle. We were just talking about pleasure. And I was doing a full-time job while this was happening. I had told my boss in my company that I will be doing this.
So you started off with content and education.
Correct.
Similar to what I did.
Absolutely. But I only had 5,000 followers when I launched my website, and you had maybe 5 million followers when
I launched. I'll have 5 million. Huh?
When you launched a 1% club.
Yes.
Yes.
I had 1.5 million.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So you start creating content first, talking about women's sexual health.
Yes.
And you were only creating this content?
No, my co-founder Astha was.
Oh, so female content creator was creating.
Correct.
Got it.
They loved it. They loved everything. We got a lot of insights from them, what to launch, what not to launch. So we essentially had the first 20 products that we were going to launch crowdsourced from the set of 5,000 users.
Interesting. This is such a fantastic way to launch a business today. That if you want to launch something, don't immediately dive into manufacturing the product and trying to figure out the marketing and all of that.
Right.
Simply open an Instagram page, research about that topic.
Yeah.
While researching, create content around that topic.
Yep.
See if there are people interested, and those people will have questions.
Yep.
You help them connect with the right kind of products.
Yes.
See what product works for this audience, and then if there is a proper product market fit.
Yes.
And until now you just spend zero amount of money because you're just creating content.
Correct.
If there's a proper product market fit, you know exactly what to manufacture by yourself, and then build a brand around it and launch it to that distribution that you have built.
Absolutely. Except we were not manufacturing. We were importing from China.
Interesting.
A bunch of players.
So tell me a little bit about the numbers. Like how big is this business? How much revenues are you generating?
Right. So this business at its peak, we had touched about 37 lakh rupees a month in revenue.
At its peak, what, during COVID?
No, this is about 1 year ago.
1 year ago.
And we don't spend on paid marketing. We are 100% organic. So
Wow.
all our revenue comes from social media, Quora, Reddit, and
Yeah.
SEO.
All of this generating 20-30 lakhs a month.
Right.
Without running ads.
Without running ads.
Phenomenal.
Correct.
Fantastic. What are the margins in this business? Let's say, for example, you talked about a flashlight. So how much does it cost you and how much are you selling it for?
So we changed our unit economics a bit because we were not making as much money as we wanted to. So for the first 2.5 years of the business, we were buying a product. So let's say we were buying a for 3,000 rupees, selling it for around 5,500 to 6,000 rupees.
That's how expensive it is?
Yes. Even buying it is expensive. Import costs are very high.
Wow.
Right. Now we've improved our logistics a little bit, got down import costs a little, and are still selling. So basically our margins have gone from about 50% to 60 to 65%.
Why? How?
We opened new import channels, got better prices, started importing in a little bit more quantity, and we increased prices on our website as well.
Interesting. So you seem like a very smart guy. Like, what did you study?
I mean, you can say I studied it, but I didn't really study it. I barely went to college. I had like 2.5% attendance in my final year because I started my first company in first year end itself. That's how I was able to sell my first company to PopExo in like 1 year after.
You started your first business while you were studying?
Yes, I was 19.
And why did you start that? Was there some inspiration?
No, I just wanted to make money. My parents were giving me 5,000 rupees a month pocket money. And I thought if I can make 10,000, 15,000 rupees more in a month, that was all I dreamt of. It wasn't big dreams. So all I wanted to do was
make money. So
make a little bit money. Yeah.
So what did you think was a good way of making money when you were in college?
So we initially started...
We means what? You were alone, no, when you started?
No, I had two co-founders.
And at the age of 19 in college, you had two co-founders?
Yeah, so both from my school. They loved the concept of just doing something different when you're in college. And initially our business model was different. We were a sponsorship brokerage agency.
What is that?
College fests and college events need sponsorships. And all these college society kids, they have their corporate teams doing a bunch of stuff, and the corporate teams change. Every 6 months, every 1 year, the corporate team will change. So there's no learning that gets transferred from one batch to another.
Correct.
So what we did was we centralized all of that learning between all the colleges of Delhi University, and we acted as their mediators, and we were getting... So if a firm, let's say Oyo Rooms was our first client, they gave about 16 lakh rupees for a fest happening in Hoskas Village. This was a non-college event. We had a 10% brokerage on that. So that is how
you sort of built a B2B business to support some college associations. Right? So basically your college fest needs money. You're like, I am the consulting firm who is going to help all of these events in my college because I have tied up with all these companies.
Correct. And we took a cut from the businesses and the corporates.
Typical agency.
And the, colleges.
I'm sure you would have been making a lot of money. You were thinking 10,000 rupees extra, but you were making a lot more money than what you thought.
Right. So we got extremely lucky in the first year. Our turnover was 50 lakh rupees in the first year.
That 10% was 50 lakhs.
Yeah.
So you raised 5 crores.
Right.
Basically, you got 5 crores of sponsorships for some college fest in DU. And you made 50 lakhs.
Yes.
50 lakhs at the age of 19.
Yes. But what we used to do is we used to take the whole money in our bank account. Or we used to take a very big portion of the money in our bank account. And then we used to give it to the college fests. We did not disclose the actual amount that we were getting from these companies.
That's what agencies do typically.
Yes. So as a result, it wasn't out of 50 lakh rupees that we made in revenue. It wasn't all commission. Maybe our actual net margin would just be 14-15 lakh rupees the first year. So it's not it's not as rosy as it seems on the outside.
God, but second year they caught on to you guys.
Second year they caught on to us and we didn't make as much money. So we pivoted. What we did was we were the back-end support system, or you can say, or research teams for a lot of these startups, where we used to help them build their products and apps. We had no tech background, we had no understanding of UI, UX, products, etc. But we really understood our audience well. And I'll give you an example of a project we did for Twitter India. Twitter India was one of our early clients, and Twitter India was building an app to replace WhatsApp. They were hungry to be the next WhatsApp. So I think we would have surveyed 12 8,000 kids. Now, these 8,000 kids are all physical interviews that are happening. These kids are from different demographics.
So you were doing the survey.
We were doing the survey.
How are you getting these people? 8,000 people.
We had a network of 4 to 5 lakh kids.
How?
Because of our original business models, the sponsorship brokerage business model, we built a very good reputation that these people will help us make money. That was our reputation in Delhi University.
So
at
you
that
had a
time.
huge database.
We had a huge database, and college kids are broke and they'll do anything for a 500 rupee Amazon voucher. You can say.
Okay.
So
basically you're saying you're doing this service by giving them a 500 rupees Amazon voucher.
not always. We are not allowed to do incentivized surveys. When you are doing product research, it's a bad practice to incentivize users. So it's usually a surprise incentive that you will get something, but we cannot promise you what you'll get.
So you guys are very good at conducting a lot of deep market research surveys among students at scale.
We did this for Twitter India, WhatsApp India.
And how much were you charging for to Twitter India? How much did you charge them?
1.5 lakh rupee a month, 2 lakh rupees a month.
Oh, they were on a retainer.
Yes, but it's a 3-month project. So
got it.
If you break it down.
Fast forward to today, what salary are you paying yourself?
1 lakh rupee a month.
Got it.
1.5 years after starting Manzuri, I paid almost zero attention to Porcelia, which is my wellness consultancy. Now, in spite of that, Porcelia is my biggest source of income today. And even back then, when I was doing, so the 10 hours a week is basically me working in Porcelia for that 1.5 year. And in that 1.5 year, I was still able to earn enough money to cover my travels because Manzuri, I was not withdrawing any salary from it because it was a new startup at that time.
Got it. Right. So right now, Porcelia, what is the revenues like?
We're at about 30 lakh rupees a month.
So both, this also 30 lakh rupees a month, even Manzuri is 30 lakh rupees a month.
Yeah, correct.
Interesting, Ritesh. I think, any advice you have for the people watching this who are so super jealous of you right now?
Every human being has an inherent advantage that they're born with. Find out what that thing is. One of the things I was good at doing was sales. I took that sales knowledge, converted into digital sales. What does digital sales mean in 2024? Digital marketing. So it was something that I had a natural affinity to it. And then you double down on it and you convert that into your passion.
So one is that, finding something that you love and then getting better at it. Anything else for the audience here?
Upskilling yourself. I invest a lot in education courses.
How much do you spend every year on education?
Sure. I spend anything between 3 to 7 lakh rupees on online courses.
Give me an advice for people who are in salaried jobs.
Sure.
And they want to start their own thing. What advice would you want to give them?
Don't quit your job immediately. Start networking. So networking is a 6-month process. Whatever industry, whatever field you want to start a job in, start networking.
Give me a hack for networking because it's very commonly used, right? Network.
Sure. LinkedIn, just LinkedIn prospecting for launching.
So that's it. So start with networking.
Don't
leave your job. Start with networking.
Don't leave your job. Then, depending on the business model. So if you want to start an e-commerce company, I think maybe for all companies it would work. You can tell me better. Start creating content. Creating content, doing exactly what I did with Manzuri at a small scale and you did with the 1% Club and Finance with Sharan at a much larger scale. That template, that blueprint is pretty much tried and tested, where you don't need to sell anything to customers. You just need to create value. So
and educate.
You were creating value to so many different people. You were creating value for me 2 years ago by the serious content that you were creating. You were creating value for my mom, who loved the fact that there is this boy who dresses up like a girl suddenly and will say something and then he'll become a father. She loved that. And she used to share your reels, etc. In our family groups and all. So you're creating value. Until you get validation on the value that you're creating, you should not think of starting a business. And once these two are done, you combine your networking, you take out time. You need to take out conscious time for it. Maybe all your Saturdays, maybe you do that for 6 months with just 2 or 3 things in mind. The main of them being networking and content creation. You will be pretty much set when you're starting. You'll get so many answers from your customers. When you talk to people, you get so many answers.
I think there's also this important saying that most people are just working for others. They don't take out time to work for themselves, because when they get time to work on themselves, they just spend that time enjoying and partying and all of that.
And it's that sacrifice that people are not willing to do. It is this sacrifice which I did in college. I have always, from the day I started working, I have hated the concept of weekends. Schools, the way they work, then colleges, jobs, everyone is living for the weekend. It is so frustrating. It is so annoying. Why can't I just work 6 hours a day for 7 days a week instead of working 9 hours a day for 5 days a week and then going crazy? When we talk about eating food, when we talk about our natural needs, we cannot eat 20 chapatis in one go and not eat any chapatis for the next 4 days.
Yeah.
So then why would we do that with work, and why would we do that in other areas of our lives?
Very, very well said, Ritesh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your words of wisdom at such a young age. I have personally learned a lot. I think this will be a very, very educational video especially for people who are there in their 20s and 30s. I'm sure you're going to be jealous of this guy, thinking how the hell did he do all of this? But my only advice is ask yourself, what can I learn from him? Instead of saying this guy just got lucky, right? So thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.